But we can factor when 8 is not equal 1, and we can factor when the numbers aren't always easily factored, like we were doing yesterday. So let's start. Okay, we're probably going to do this just by, like, baptism by fire, like just getting in there, and we're going to just do practice and see how it works. But it's important to remember, like we were just talking about, the first step, step 1, is always, always to factor out a GCF if possible. Factor out a GCF if possible. Okay. Step 2. Is to use the diamond method. So use our little X or our diamond, whatever you want to call it. Use the diamond method to find factors. And this is where it becomes a little different when A, this leading coefficient, when A is not 1, we have to add a step to our two steps to our diamond method. When A is not 1, we have to add 2 steps to our diamond method. We're going to use it to find the factors. So we'll have our X, we'll have our 2 factors on either side, same as always. Step 3 will be divide each factor by A. So whatever your A was, you're going to divide each factor by A, and you will need to simplify if necessary. So if it becomes a fraction, and you can simplify the fraction, you must simplify the fraction. Simplify if necessary. And then the last step, everyone's favorite, is what we call bottoms up, the simplified fraction. I'll show you how that works when we do it exactly, but we take the bottom, the denominator of the fraction, multiply it by x, and then add the numerator, and that's going to give us our binomial. It'll make sense when we do it. But let's put that as step 4. Step 4 is bottoms up the simplified fraction, or fractions on both sides is what it will be, to get your binomial factors. Then you won't have to do bottoms up, because it'll simplify to a whole number. So then you'll just have a factor, like just a number. Okay, keep these in front of you. Let's practice. All right, example 1. Example 1 says factor 5x squared plus 15x plus 10. 5x squared plus 15x plus 10. Our first step is what? Factor out the GCF. Take out 5. Always our first step. So this becomes 5x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now look at our A. What's A? 1. When A is 1, we go back to what we were doing yesterday. We have our very simple diamond method. We don't get into steps 3 and 4. We just use our diamond method to find the factors when A is 1. It's very easy. Alex? Yes, yes. Like we're technically still doing A times C, but when A is 1, we don't have to do step 3 and 4. When A is 1, we don't have to do steps 3 and 4. Let's write that. When A equals 1, you can stop after step 2. Now, sometimes when we factor out a GCF, A will not be 1. They've given us a nice softball for our first example so that we can get used to this. So if we use our diamond, we've got 2 times 1 is 2, and then B is 3. So we have, what, 3 and negative 1? 2. Oh, jeez, I am off big time today. 2 and 1. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 plus 1 is 3. Don't forget to bring down your GCF. That is a factor in your factored form. And then we'll put our 2 binomials, x plus 2, x plus 1. This is factored form. We do not set these equal to 0. Why? It didn't say solve. We're just factoring. We leave it in factored form. Good. Let's do another one. Example 2. Example 2 says factor for x squared plus 13x plus 3. 4x squared plus 13x plus 3. What is the first thing we check for? Madeline? Yeah, factoring out the GCF. Yeah, is there a GCF? Yeah, there is not. We can't take anything out of all 3 of these, right? They don't have a common factor. Now, this is where we have to move into our diamond method 2.0. We're going to do the same thing, except now our A is not 1, so we have some extra steps. We need to do A times C. 4 times 3. A times C. 4 times 3 is 12, so we're going to put that in our top. And in the bottom, we're going to put B, just like we did before. And then we're going to do the same thing as we've been doing always. What 2 factors multiply to give us 12 and add to give us 13, Audrey? 12 and 1. But because our A does not equal 1, we have to move on to steps 3 and 4. We need to divide each factor by A. And what is A? 4. So we need to divide each of these by 4. Then we need to simplify if possible. We can simplify 12 over 4, right? It's equal to 3 over 1. Yeah, but it's nice. Leave the 1 there because it's a good little placeholder for when you do bottoms up. And 1 over 4 is not any further simplifiable. That is in simplest form. Bless you. Okay, this is where we do bottoms up. Here's what it means. We start at the denominator. This becomes the coefficient of our x term of our binomial. Okay, the coefficient of the x of the first binomial. So what's our coefficient of x going to be? 1, bottoms up. So we start at the bottom, 1x. I'm just going to leave that as x. Then this is a positive 3, so we will add 3. That's our first term. X, 1x plus 3, bottoms up. From the denominator to the numerator. Our second binomial, we start at the bottom. The coefficient of x is going to be 4. The denominator is 4, so this becomes 4x plus 1. How can we check our work? FOIL, right? If we FOIL this, we should end up with what we started with. So let's just do it. I'm not going to do this every time, but let's just do it. 4x squared plus x plus 12x plus 3, which does give us 4x squared plus 13x plus 3. So check. Okay. Let's do another one. Factor. Factor 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. 3x squared minus 7x plus 2. What's our first step? Alex? GCF. Is there a GCF? No. So we move on to step 2, which is make our diamond. Okay, A times C is what? 6. 2 times 3. A times C. 6. And our B is negative 7. So what are our two factors that when multiplied give us 6, when added give us negative 7? Blake? Negative 6, negative 1. Good. Now, A did not equal 1, so we have to move on to step 3, which is what do we do with our factors? Alex? Yep, and what do we divide by? 3. We divide by A. We are going to divide both factors by A, in this case, which is 3. The negative will always stay with that with the numerator. Okay? It will always stay with the numerator. We need to simplify fractions if possible. We can simplify that one on the left. Negative 6 over 3 becomes negative 2 over 1. If it's helpful, circle the simplified fraction. Okay, last step is bottoms up, the simplified fraction to make our binomials. First one will be 1x, or just x, minus 2, because we had a negative 2 in the numerator. So 1x minus 2 times the quantity 3x, good, minus 1. How are we feeling about this? You should see how the book does it. It's so confusing. Yeah, it's like gives me anxiety. I try to not look at it. The way the book teaches it, it's like these tables of 20 possibilities, and you have to check it if it's check x, you go through all these. It's yeah, it's terrible. Love that diamond method.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay, let's do let's do 2 more. Ooh, let's do one more. I'm going to skip right to example 4 because I think we're all doing very well at this. And we are going to practice it a lot. We're doing more tomorrow.
Will our big ideas will work, or are we going to have big ideas?
Yeah.
Will it count those, what was in the book?
That your plate?
That is a great question. I don't think so. I think your job on big ideas is just to factor. I don't think it makes you fill out the table like it does in the book. Look at the table for example 4. Doesn't that make you want to just hide under a rock for the rest of your life?
You mean cower?
Cower, yes. What a great vocab word. What a large lexicon. Look at this. So you basically check all these.
Yeah.
Isn't that terrible?
That sounds awful.
Right? Okay, let's do example 4. Factor. Negative 4x squared minus 8x plus 5. We never can factor with a negative a. So we always have to get rid of the negative a. Now, if it's a GCF and we can factor it out, great. But in this case, can we factor out like a negative 4? No. So we have to get rid of that negative sign. How do we do that?
Multiply the whole equation by negative 1.
Yes, or factor out a GCF of negative 1. Right? Factor out negative 1 from every term. So this becomes negative 1 times the quantity. We don't have any other GCF, so we're going to factor negative 1 and basically just flip the sign of each of our terms. You guys see how we did that? Okay. We cannot have a negative a. If it's negative, you need to take a negative 1 out, and you have to take it out of every term and make that kind of a GCF. Because it won't work in your factoring. It won't work in, it will give you the wrong answer when you do your factoring. Now at this point, we use our diamond. And we're only working with what's inside the parentheses. Negative what? Hold on, we could try to do it, but it won't work. It will not work when you try to do bottoms up. I think that's where you end up with the bottoms up becomes the problem because it changes the signs incorrectly. Hold on, let's do it the right way, and then we could do it the wrong way and see why it's wrong. But let's do the right way. Okay, so first thing we're going to do A times C. 4 times a negative 5 gives us negative 20. Wait, what now?
Negative 5 there. If it's an odd number, can't you not do it when it comes to the, like...
No, because we're doing A times C. I don't think I understand your question. Ask me again.
But you can't FOIL to check it. That's what I'm hoping.
We'll be able to FOIL to check it. We'll be able to FOIL to check it. Just wait, just watch. We have to do the steps. Do not try to do it in your head.
Oh, I wrote it down.
Okay. A times C, negative 20. B, 8. What are our two factors? 10. Okay, good. 10 and negative 2. Very good. Positive 10, negative 2. Multiplied equal negative 20. Check. We add to equal positive 8. Good. Okay, our next step, A did not equal 1. What do we need to do? Before bottoms up, we need to divide each factor, good, by A. And A is 4. Then we need to do what? Charlie, simplified fractions. So this becomes 5 over 2 and negative 1 over 2. Now, everyone's favorite, what do we do? Bottoms up the simplified fraction. So our first binomial is 2x plus 5 times the quantity 2x minus 1. Oh, and gosh, what did I forget? Negative 1. Don't forget that factor that we factored out. That would have been bad. Okay, now can we FOIL that to check? Yeah.
Yeah, but then you have to plug in a negative 1 again, right?
Yeah. You'd have to put that negative 1 in again because it is a factor.
Yeah, but because 5 times negative 1 is negative 5.
I probably just went crazy.
Yeah, don't do it in your head. It's
No, I
too
wrote it down.
confusing.
I wrote it down.
I know. I know you wrote it down, but you were like 10 steps ahead of me without doing the steps. Okay,
Not that actually.
how do we feel about this?
Good.
Can we do it?
Yeah.
Be systematic. You must do step by step. Don't forget, this is what people forget. Divide by A and simplify your fraction. Divide by A and simplify your fraction. Don't forget those parts of the method.